to congratulate Lawrence Ray Payonga of the Marcial Oranyola Memorial School for being elected as National President of the Supreme Student Government. And let me also thank the teachers for providing assistance and allowing the students to be part of this important gathering. You know, when I was invited to speak, I told myself, what is exactly that I can share with you? I just came from the Mason, the progressive, not really the progressive, the Mason induction of the Mason Lot 61 in Legazpi. And I guess essentially the subject matter is the same. The challenges of the present, considering the requirements of leadership and capacity in our own areas of jurisdiction. So in short, let me just share with you my own experience and probably take some lessons from it. Let me just draw the conclusions first in order for us to have a clear understanding of what my talk is all about. The first one is that capacity and character isn't learned overnight. You need to go through a process of building character, and you need time, resources in order for you to build capacity. The second is that sometimes, in fact, most of the time, character is more important than capacity. And the third is that although I say that all of this cannot be built overnight, it's important that we begin today and now. Let me just move back to my first lesson. My first lesson is that character and capacity cannot be learned overnight. To be very, very simple about it, you can go to fourth year unless you go to grade 1. You can go to tertiary unless you go to secondary. You can move up the corporate ladder unless you go through the process of learning and training and, of course, be ready to assume higher responsibilities. So in a lot of sense, you know, when I first became mayor of Naga, that was in 1988, I was only 29. I was only 29 years old. I was the youngest city mayor in the Philippines during that time. And in fact, when I was running for public office, a lot of voters in the city thought that I was just too young. Meaning, I was not ready. Of course, I worked with San Miguel for 6 years. I occupied a middle executive position in San Miguel. But then, it seems that that was not enough for preparing me to be mayor of the city. Of course, hand in hand with that is academic preparation. My belief has been the process of learning should be continuing. The need to learn is as important as the changing needs of our times. In fact, when I left City Hall in 1998, I decided to go back to school. I went back to school for a year in order for me to examine whether the capacities that I have will respond to the requirement, the changing needs of the environment. So let me backtrack a bit. So in 1988, when I first became mayor, my beginning was basically establishing my capacity to govern. Meaning, they say that there are two requirements for leadership. You have the first requirement is, we call it the instrumental capacities that you need to have. Instrumental is basically what you've learned in school. Instrumental is basically experience. Instrumental is basically something that if you would like to know, you'll find out. The other, of course, is I call it the magical, or let me say the magical. Sometimes they call it the it. Sometimes they call it character. Sometimes they call it the inspiring, or we can say how inspiring the leadership will be. But an effective leader requires that you have both the instrumental and magical qualities. Character is an important aspect of what we say the magical in leadership. So going back to 1988, when I first became mayor of the city, I need to demonstrate to everyone that I had the capacity to govern. And when you say the capacity to govern, it means utilizing academic preparation to effectively deliver the outcomes. And when you say the outcomes, in simple terms, you talk about is garbage being collected regularly? Are people reporting for work on time? Are the public works infrastructure projects being done well. These are the things that you need to demonstrate. But I believe the most important challenge during that time was demonstrating that you had the character to govern. And let me just share with you my own experiences. I think in Bicol, one of the most important challenges of being a local official is how you deal with vetting. I guess when you have illegal gambling in a locality, it simply means that the mayor and the chief of police are involved. It seems that all of you do agree with me. So in 1988, I told myself that in order for people to believe that this government or this leadership is serious as far as reforming the locality is concerned, we need to demonstrate that we will remove the symbols of bad governance in the city. It doesn't require the instrumental capacities. It requires basically the magical, as you put it. It requires character. So I said, no to vetting, we love the gambling lords. In fact, one of our witnesses was shot at near Plaza Rizal, 10 o'clock in the morning. And of course, we decided to close all the joints, by the way. That was another thing that we did. It didn't require that I have a Harvard education, or I have a LaSalle education, or I have a UP education. It requires a firm determination of what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong. And that is, to my mind, your character. Now, after that, after demonstrating that in the city, my sense is that people at least provided and gave us the opportunity to demonstrate what we can do. My sense is that unless people have confidence in leadership, it's difficult for the constituency and the residents of the city to provide you the chance and give you the benefit of the doubt that you'll be able to deliver. So in 1988, my reading was that it's important for us, of course, to show everyone that I have the training, I have the academic background, I have the experience to be a good mayor. But I think the other, and in fact the more important element is that, I have the foundation and the character to govern. And my reading is that we've been elected 5 times. Actually, this is my 6th and last time as Mayor of Naga. I've been there since 1988. My only gap was 1998 to 2001 because I was term limited. But what we did in 1988 actually defined what we've done from 1988 onwards. Now, hand in hand with this, of course, is learning to learn and being able to apply your learning. I recall I was invited to be speaker in another occasion yesterday. I said that from experience, probably what you learn from college, only 40–50% of it will be useful after college. In fact, I think even the teachers do realize that what you learn from school is important, but then once you're outside school, actually, school hasn't taught you what you've learned. School has taught you how to learn. And to my mind, when, again, this cannot be done overnight, it's a process by which you appreciate the search for knowledge. It's the process by which you ask the questions of why and the questions of how and the questions of what. It allows you to learn the important elements by which you'll be able to address real-life problems. So to my mind, when I worked with San Miguel, I was with San Miguel for 6 years, it was not really just learning and earning. It was being able to relate the environment and myself, the work environment and myself, to relate previous knowledge with current knowledge, and to instill in myself that there is a need to continually learn. So let me just backtrack a little. I said that this cannot be done overnight. It simply means that we have to do it one step at a time. And the test of character is not a test of character in the future. The test of your character is now. Meaning, I recall when I was in 4th year high school, I had this classmate. He's now a lawyer. He was former national president of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. And you know, when we were in third year high school, fourth year high school, he was already talking of hindi pwede prinsipyo yan. You know, sometimes it's almost unusual to hear how is concerned. Most of the time we do not agree because this is a personal matter. You know, when he was in third and fourth year high school, he was already saying, I do not agree because as a matter of principle, I do not agree. I believe these are things that we need to learn and develop over time. Because character is formed over the years that we are alive. In fact, I must say that even up to now, we're still in the process of building character. The second point that I would like to convey to you is that sometimes character is more important than capacity. Now, I do hope that I will not sound anti-government or whatever. But come to think of it, many times we've been asked, what's wrong with our country? Huh? Ma'am, what's wrong with our country? Ang dami. She cannot enumerate anymore. But to my mind, come to think of it, if you take a look at, as they say, the instrumental qualities of leadership, my sense is that our leaders have the instrumental qualities of leadership. When I say instrumental, you know, they're educated, they have the experience, they have the training, they have the background. But why did we fail? Character. My sense is that, you know, sometimes they compare Cory Aquino with the other presidents of the country. And maybe you'd say that the former president, Cory Aquino, didn't have the instrumental qualities. But let me tell you that, you know, I've gone through 4 presidents, President Cory, President Ramos, President Era, and President GMA. If you notice, if there is anyone, the most respected president of this nation, among the 4 of them, is former President Cory, even up to now. Not because she's smart, not because she's Harvard educated, not because she has demonstrated the instrumental qualities, but because she has possessed and demonstrated the character and the integrity of a good Filipino leader. So in trying times, sometimes the instrumental qualities doesn't even matter. In trying and difficult times, we need people who will inspire us because of their character, because of the principles that they're standing for, because of the things that they believe in. And in fact, the more inspiring leaders, or history will show you, that the inspiring leaders did not demonstrate the instrumental qualities. Let me just go to the present situation. Probably school children are familiar with President Barack Obama. All of you are familiar with President Barack Obama. President Barack Obama hasn't demonstrated the capacity to govern. President Obama has inspired the American people because people who believe that in himself he has the capacity to lead the country. And of course, leading requires being able to determine the instrumental qualities required in order for you to lead. So let me say that the challenge, the difficult challenge really is standing by for what is right. The difficult challenge is standing for your principles. At this point in time, the difficult challenge is how you'll be able to shape them so that when it is challenged, you will stand your ground. Let me just dwell on that a little. What do I mean that when it is challenged, you stand your ground? Again, going back to my own experience. In 1988, I voted only 23% of the vote in the city. Of the 10 city councilors that I had, only 3 belong to my political group. And of course, what happened was everything that I wanted to do, I opposed. Everything that I wanted to do, they opposed. So actually, we had almost 4 years of gridlock in the city. Now, the question now in 1992 was, how should I proceed? I think the choices are simple and probably convenient. One is, I'll just join them and be the mayor and, be a part of the group, be a part of a group of compromises. Meaning, in order, I think the most difficult part of getting into elected office is that it's an environment of political compromises. In fact, I think politics will tell you that it's a world of compromises. As they say, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. Okay. So in 1992, that was a test as to how we should proceed. And then let me tell you that we decided to fight the odds. I told you, I think the good thing about it in 1992 was I was only 31 in 1992. So I said, if I lose this election and go back to San Miguel and work in a private company, easily, I'll end alive even after losing the mayorship. So probably that was something going on my side. But we decided to fight the odds. Just to give you an idea. If you're familiar with Camarines politics, the big players were Robredo and Luis Villaperte. So in 1992, they joined together. The candidate was the sister of Congressman Villaperte, and the group of Robredo together, they joined Speaker Mitra as president. So it was myself against all of them. Now I told myself, as I've said, if I lose, I'll go back to San Miguel. But I think the more important defining moment in 1992 was choosing between what you think is right and what you think is wrong. Probably we would have lost in 1992. Probably we would have been forgotten after losing in 1992. But I guess it defined us and defined everyone. Why is character important? Character is important because it doesn't only define you. It also defines the other people that you interact with. When you succeed, it means that good character is contagious. It means that people have learned to stand up for what is right. It means that you have succeeded not only in forming yourself, but in forming the character of other people as well. So many times, of course, probably during normal times, the instrumental quality is more important. When I say instrumental, managerial experience, academic preparation, and the like. Probably when there are the crises that you have to contend with, the managerial experience is more important. But I guess 2010, when we elect our leaders, I guess it will be a test of who has the character to lead this country. So that is the second lesson. The second lesson is essentially, my sense is that while instrumental qualities may be learned easily, character needs to be formed and character needs to be tested. The final point that I would like to convey is, the time to do this is now. I belong to a group called Kaya Natin. Kaya Natin is myself, Governor Edvan Lillo, the priest governor of Pampanga, Governor Grace Madaca, the all-stricken governor of Isabela, then Mayor Sonia Lorenzo of San Isidro Nueva Ecija, and Governor Ted Bagilan of Itbulaga. Actually, we've been around all the universities in Metro Manila. We've gone up Northern Luzon, we're moving Southern Luzon. And basically, we're saying that the time to act is now. Regardless of your station in life, regardless of what you're doing now. So if you're a teacher, it simply means that being able to take care of the responsibilities that you are supposed to handle. If you're a student, probably it's being able to make a difference in the lives of people around you. In as much as all of this will form part of your preparation, if you're 18 years old, you need to register and vote. I think that is a basic duty that needs to be done. But in all of it, I must say that whatever you do, wherever you are, no matter how old you are, you must find that sense of what you can contribute. In one of the surveys done among American companies, they interviewed several CEOs and COOs. And they were asked the question, what is it that you find most fulfilling in your job? Not really. I think that, let me rephrase that question. What is the most Of course, some people will say it's the salary. Others will say it's a kind of office space that I have. You'll be surprised, salary was only number 3. The number 1 motivation is making a difference. Meaning, people who make or who feels that they are making a difference as far as the company is concerned. Making a difference in so far as the lives of the people are concerned, feel more satisfaction in something or in the things that they're doing. So hopefully, young people like you will try to find an area where you can make a difference. Let me just digress a little. I have 3 children, by the way. My eldest is working already. My second is third year high school. So she's incoming 4th year. And my youngest is grade 3. Both of them are running for the student government in their school in Naga City. So I asked both of them, why is it that you're running? Of course, my youngest said, because we would like to be, we want to be like you. But you know, my elder sister, my second daughter, who's running for president of the student government in the university, she said that I think all of us should offer ourselves so that we'll be able to have the opportunity to serve. Whether we are chosen, whether we are not chosen, that is secondary. The most important element in all of this is being able to offer ourselves to be of service to others. I guess that is an important part of character building. I guess the experience is an important part of building the instrumental qualities that we require in the future. So hopefully, as student government officials in your own schools, you try to make a difference in the lives of your fellow students. Let me just wrap up, and if you would like to ask questions, I'll be willing to answer. Let me just wrap up by just summarizing again what I said. As I've said, there is no sense building all of it overnight. We need to build character and these instrumental qualities. As we go on in our lives, if you're a high school student, preparing for tertiary education, that's part of it. So it's something that you need to build on. Both, they say, the magical qualities of leadership and the instrumental qualities of leadership. Second is that in challenging times, character is more important even than capacity. Thirdly, if you can make a difference now, try to make a difference now. If there is an opportunity that is presented to you wherein you can make a difference, hopefully you'll take it. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Mayor, do you think that it's about time that the Philippines would stop experiencing corruption by replacing Gloria as our president?
You know, I think we should go through that process. There is a process of replacing an elected official in this country. And I do believe in that constitutional process. So if that process doesn't materialize, then we just have to wait for 2010. So if they tried impeachment, they failed. So I suppose we must respect that process. Whether we agree or disagree, whether we do not like or whether we like, there is a constitutional process that we have to contend with. And to my mind, we should respect that process. Let me do a disclaimer, by the way. I belong to the opposition. I'm a member of the Liberal Party, Trilon Way. So my views might be rather tainted. So I must be very, very candid with you. I belong to the opposition in the last 7-8 years. You know, I saw somebody raising her hand. Here. Yes, ma'am. I won't sit down anymore. I'll just wait for your question.
character is the combination of the traits or the qualities that makes up an individual. So what characters or what traits or qualities shall make up the character of an individual?
The question is, the definition of character is a combination of traits and qualities of a good leader. I think integrity is very important, honesty is very important. The issue of corruption is easily a question of honesty. What is integrity? As they put it, integrity is being able to do what you say. And in fact, the ultimate test of honesty and integrity is that it is something that you do when people are not watching. When you are true to yourself, or when you are true to the standards of good behavior, when people are not watching, then you have integrity and honesty. Now, how important are they? I guess in the context of the Philippine society now, I think honesty and integrity are the most important elements that leaders must possess. You know, if you take a look at the papers, every day, there is no day in our country where the papers will tell you how corrupt the government is. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. I'll just moderate. Yeah.
You have mentioned a while ago that you have this group that you are always opposing each other. So we all know that Filipinos have these individual differences, and we are entitled to our own opinions. So because we're also student leaders, can you give us a tip on how to govern people with different opinions?
Okay. That is difficult, by the way. In my case, when I was mayor for 4 years, and 7 of the city councilors belonged to the opposing group, we really had a lot of difficulty. So let me be more theoretical than real. I think when people's motives are not questioned, it's really a question of how good the arguments are. Meaning, a good leader must be able to convince somebody that his idea is better than the idea of the other. And when there is agreement on which is the best idea, certainly there will be consensus. That is one way of doing it. The other is to build a consensus on the differences. As they say, probably that will require compromise, that will require achieving a middle ground, but that is a way by which contending people with different opinions agree on. So you build consensus, as they say, you build consensus on the things that you agree on, and you just ignore the difference. Of course, I must admit that sometimes it doesn't work that way. So what did we do in the city? So in 1992, we campaigned so hard that the people in Naga decided to elect everyone, all of us, to City Hall. Meaning, myself, the Vice Mayor, all the city councilors, including the SK and ABC now just belong to one political group. And let me add, by the way, that since 1992 up to now, we've been elected on the straight ticket. Meaning, myself, the Vice Mayor, all the councilors, ABC, SK now belong to just one political group. Why did that happen in my city or in our city? Probably because we were able to present a better alternative that works. So at the end of the day, it's not just arguing what is good and what is not good. It's demonstrating that it works. As they say, no one quarrels with success. Now, probably there will be some deficiencies, probably there will be some problems, but if it works, then it's difficult to argue with it. So maybe if there are contending ideas, it might be good to show whether this idea works or that idea works, and the better idea should prevail. Any other questions? Yes.
Mayor, how did you convince the Naga people to vote for you as their leader?
How did I convince the residents of the city to vote for me as their leader? Then I worked so hard, didn't sleep awake. No, okay. I guess it's important important, if you're an aspiring politician, it's important for you to understand the kind of constituency that you have. It's like a student government. You need to figure out what kind of students you have in the school, what their needs are, how they respond to motivation, whether they will participate, whether they're passive, whether they're active, and come up with programs that will respond to this. Let's say, for instance, my sense is that in our city, you know, Naga has several universities. We have the church in Naga, we have the media in Naga. These people are the opinion leaders of the city. And I must say that I would like to believe that the voters in the city are intelligent. Meaning, I think we should match our campaign, our programs, our outcomes with the kind of constituency that we have. So maybe we have perfectly matched with the requirements of the constituency. Meaning, we have responded to what their needs are. We do not buy votes in the city, by the way. It's something that it's something that is not prevalent in the city. So my sense is that maybe we're able to come up and implemented programs that have responded to the needs of the city. Let me just close by citing you some numbers. Naga has the lowest poverty incidence in the region. The average of the region, I think, is 42%. Naga is 18%. Naga has the lowest malnutrition rate in the region at 4%. The next best, I think, is 11%, and that's illegal. Naga has the lowest maternal mortality rate. Naga has the lowest under 5 child mortality rate. Naga has the most progressive economy in the region. So maybe that has helped to convince people that we're doing well. So at the end of it, it's not just what I say, it's what people see. In fact, in 1992, when I ran for public office, all the radio stations and the print media were against me. But my reading has been, people will believe what they see, not what they hear. In a small locality like ours, people will see what's happening. So even if my detractors will say otherwise, people would rather believe what they see rather than what they hear. So hopefully in your own constituency, you'll be able to figure out exactly what are the needs of the constituents and be able to deliver. Yeah.
Sir, in my own opinion, I believe character is the ability to perceive what is right and what is wrong, and to be able to stand on a moral ground. So the question is, can character be considered or honored as an ability?
Can character be?
Can character be considered as an ability?
Character must be considered as a trait rather than an ability. Ability is something that you learn. Character is something that you build inside you. But then, let us not debate on it. Character must even be an ability. But my sense is that character is more feeling than thinking. What I'm saying is that sometimes you know what is right and what is wrong, but you still decide otherwise. So my sense is that the foundation of it is in the heart. The foundation of it is not in the mind. Because if the foundation of it is in the mind, then this country should really move forward. It's like saying that, it's wrong to take money from illegal activities, but then some people still take money. I'm certain that they do know what's wrong and what's right. But in their heart, they just don't have it. But let me move it out a little. It doesn't matter whether it's an ability or a trait, as long as you demonstrate and you will decide for what is right all the time. Anyone else? Yes.
Sir, I was just curious. Do you have any plans to run as senator?
Are you a registered voter now? I'm just kidding. I belong to the Liberal Party. They're actually, they're drafting me to run for national office. But it's something that we have not seriously considered at this point in time. I've been going around the country not because of a senatorial bid. I've been going around the country because of the IMAT. We're being invited by the here. It's a party matter that needs to be decided. You've been reading the papers. And anyone else? Yes.
Mayor, why did you choose this kind of profession, politics, especially, particularly mayor, and what is your purpose for this job?
Yeah. Let me say that I became a mayor by accident. I was working in San Miguel for 6 years. But I joined the march I joined EDSA 1. Let me say that I was part of EDSA 1. We were in Ram, we were in Malacanang. And I belonged to a group, the group was called the Society of Professionals for the Advancement of Democracy and Enlightenment. So we're part of the group rally against Marcos. So when Marcos left the country, somebody said, would you like to go back to Naga and work in the government? And of course the challenge was, you should put your money where your mouth is. So during that time, we were saying that, let's change Marcos, let's build a new government. So now you're being given the opportunity to work in the government. So I decided to take a leave from San Miguel for a year. I went back to Naga and became director of Bicol River Basin. Then I was there for 6 months, 7 months, and a politician in the city said, why not run for mayor of Naga? I told myself that might be a good idea, so I decided to run for mayor. The basic reason was that maybe I can make a difference. In fact, the only motivation then was, if I should give it a try, probably I can make a difference in the lives of the Nagenians. So that the primary motivation was really doing my share. I belong to a middle income family in the city. And I think the city was good to the family. So it was a sort of an obligation. And at the same time, it was also a challenge. Public office is difficult, by the way. But I guess between a private job and a public office, a public office is more fulfilling than a private job. I realized that after I left San Miguel, when I became mayor, I said, this will fulfill the things that I aspired for when I was younger. I hope that you give public office a chance in your life as well. Any other questions? Yeah. Can people line up so that we can answer it as quickly as we can? If you have questions.
Mayor, what is your guiding principle that makes you an effective public servant or leader na pwede po namin tularan as student leader in the district?
Ako lang palagay ko, ang buhay na ito simple lang, ang tama sa ang mali. Basta parati ka lang, sabi na niya, basta parati lang sa puso mo susundin mo yung tama, palagay ka hindi ka magkakamali. I think a lot of things can be learned, a lot of things can be delegated, but making the right and moral choice cannot be delegated. So in your work, I believe that maybe you're not capable in all the things that you need to do. And this can be delegated. But making the right choice when your time is up is something that you cannot delegate. And next question, please. Yes.
Based on my opinion, I believe that a man full of words but not of deeds is a garden full of weeds. Do you think that we should easily believe and vote for running politicians who are very good in speaking?
No. I think anyone who would seek your vote requires that person must have demonstrated something in relation to what he is aspiring for. So if you go back to magical and instrumental, we cannot deliver by inspiration alone. we need to have a certain degree of capacity and experience in order for someone to be able to deliver. And let me just give you an example. I hope it doesn't mind. I think if there is any president that has inspired the Philippines, it's President Era. President Era has demonstrated that magical quality of a leader. But I think he has not demonstrated the instrumental qualities required of a leader. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, by the way. Any other questions? Yeah, can you just line up in front of the microphone? Please.
Sir, after President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, who would be the possible person who is capable of ruling our country and who can uplift our economy?
Much as I want to answer, I might give you a biased answer. So let me beg you from naming my candidate for president, especially because I belong to the Liberal Party. Next question, please.
For instance, you already know yourself that you cannot lead a group or you don't have the strength to lead a crowd, but people see you as the best leader and they wanted you to be their leader. What are you going to do? Are you going to accept their wants or are you going to follow your own instinct?
I think when people feel that you can lead them, they see something in you that inspires them. So my reading is that if there is no one who can lead them, I think you are obliged to lead them and develop the qualities necessary in order for you to effectively lead them. Sometimes people also tend to underestimate themselves. There are people who believe that their capacity is less than what really it is. So when people see you and think and feel that you can lead them, I think you should give that a chance as well. There is nothing wrong with failure, by the way. Let me just emphasize that. From time to time we fail. I think the most important element really in all of it is not failing. It's rising up when you fail. So when somebody says, can you lead us? And you feel that among all of you, you're in the best position to do it, you do it. If you don't succeed, then try another day. Yes, ma'am.
We all know that our country is suffering from poverty because of global financial crisis. As a student, what we are going to do in coping with this crisis?
I think as a student, when we talk of the global financial crisis, it means what? Translating to your family. It means less money for the family. Less money, less income for our parents. And maybe as student, we need to, it requires some sacrifices on our part. Meaning, when you have an economic downturn, usually jobs are affected. And the jobs are affected, usually families are affected. So it's necessary that we do understand that this requires what? Austerity on the part of the family, more understanding on the part of the children for the needs that are being provided for. And by just simply conveying to our parents that we do understand what the situation is, if you lighten their burden. Yeah.
So may I say, as a great leader, how do you cope up the persons and voters that are against you?
That are against you. You try to convince them if you fail, then just get more people who will vote for you. I think as a leader, let me say this. First of all, as a leader, you must be willing to accept that not all people will agree with you and will accept it. And I guess in a democracy, the basic challenge is just getting the majority of all of them. Now, despite trying to convince, despite doing everything, still they're not convinced, then let it be. You work on people who are convinced in as much as for the people who have confidence in you, you cannot fail. You cannot fail them. So, after doing your part, it doesn't work out, they still oppose you, let it be. Yeah, next question.
Recently, you have said the many good Philippines that you have done Naga. I think that is a propaganda.
Yeah, okay.
Will you again take a candidacy for mayor in Naga or take a higher place in politics?
Yeah, probably the things that I've said are part of my propaganda. And I've been doing that in the last 18 years, by the way. You know, I've been mayor for, this is my 18th year as mayor of the city. So, as they say, propaganda only works in the short term. After a while, people will discover whether it's propaganda or whether it's the real thing. So in my case, I think after 17 years, people would have discovered by now whether it's propaganda or whether it's really achievement. And let me just add that in all my elections in the city after 1988, we've been voted into office on a straight ticket, and probably won. I think my lowest vote was 70% of the vote. So maybe people who feel that we've done something because they've entrusted the city hall to us. Will I run for mayor again? I'm prohibited from running for mayor again. After the third term, we have a term limit, and I'm term limited already. Will I run for a higher office? I think I've answered it already. It's something that people say. But you know, it's good that you ask me whether it's propaganda or not. Thank you.
Mayor, as an officer, we encounter some problems that one of these is the student will not follow their programs. Can you give us some tips how to manage these students, especially those who are hard-headed?
As I said, it's difficult to get 100% consensus. So don't try. In fact, in a democracy, it's only 50% plus one. So my advice is that do not expect that everyone will cooperate because that's almost impossible. My second advice is that in order for people to cooperate, they must be part of the process of decision making. Let's say, for instance, if I have a project that I consulted all of you that is the project, so I said, what do you think of it? What do you think of it? What do you think of it? What do you think? All of you now say, that's a good project. So very likely, in as much as they will consult with the activity, they will participate. That is what we call empowerment and participation. Most of the time, projects fail because it is something being imposed by leadership. I'm the president, so this is the project. I think you probably end up wrongly. But if I'm the president, but I have to consult everyone. What is the priority? And if you agree on the priority, then very likely I'll get 50% plus one. So I guess you need to work on the participation of the people who will work for the project, not only during the time that you do the project, but during the time that you are deciding whether the project is good or not. But again, let me emphasize that do not even aspire to get 100% cooperation. It's almost impossible. Probably the only time that you have 100% cooperation is when you say, let's go to a free show. Yeah.
Mayor, for some tips lang po, paano po natin, ano po ang mga dapat natin gawin para po magtiwala po sa atin yung ibang mga tao?
Ang palagay ko pinakasimple, dapat, sabihin mo kung ano, sabi niya, gawin mo kung ano yung sinasabi mo. You know, they call that integrity. When you do as you say, then people will believe you. Kaya palagay ko, I think building confidence is very important when you would like to be a leader. People must have the confidence in it. And as they say, very, you know, I think you have learned leadership by example, doing as you say. These are the elements that will contribute in building confidence in the leadership. You know, one of my favorite expressions is, you cannot give what you do not have. So in order for you to demand of others, you must be willing to do it yourself. In order for you to demand hard work, you must demonstrate hard work as well. So it's important to build confidence. And as I've said, integrity is what? saying as you do and doing as you say. Yeah, next question, please.
Sir, who's the person that inspires you most to reach your position as the city mayor of Manila?
My father. When I was 4 years old, my father was stricken with retinitis pigmentosa. So since I was 4 years old, my father was blind already. But despite the fact that he was blind, he was able to raise all of us. He demonstrated character. I think if you're a blind man and you have a family to feed, your 5 children in the family, it manifested very many things to me. Number one is that even if you're handicapped, you can do something. Number two, despite that he overcame all the difficulties, and he raised 5 of us. And in fact, even up to now, if there is anyone who I think has influenced me and my siblings, I think it's my father. Next question.
Mayor, being a leader, how did you make Naga a progressive city?
By inviting and promoting participation in the city. Let me just give an example. I think even if your leader is Superman, he will have difficulty. Probably, in order for the leader to be effective, is that probably the leader in order to be effective must multiply his capacity. And actually, what is leadership? Leadership is making people do it for you as well. So you multiply your capacity. Let me just be very, very specific. The school for the mentally handicapped in the city is run by parents of handicapped children. It's not run by the city government. There is a neurologist with an autistic child. She said that, Mel, give me $1 million and 300,000 a year and run the school. That school has been there for 15 years. It's not me, it's them. It multiplied the capacity of the city. In Naga City, we have what we call the Naga City People's Council. That council is authorized to have representatives in all the committees of the city council where they can vote, they're part of the vote. They serve as unelected city officials at the committee level. So to my mind, I think we have succeeded because people supported and participated in the things that we do. In fact, I related to the first question. The first question is, what are the elements of success in your program? I think participation and involvement of the people is an important element. Next question, please.
Mayor, I know that you are a great leader that reflects what is Naga City. I know that you are a great leader that reflects what is Naga City now. Can you describe your leadership in just one word?
Can you repeat your question, please? I'm against what?
Can you describe your leadership with just one word?
Can I describe my leadership with just one word? Little difficult. Can I try 5 words? Let me see. There is no substitute for hard work. When I first became mayor of the city, I was the first guy to report for work. I was the last guy to leave office, save for the janitor, of course. But I was the first one to come in. I was the first one to leave. For 2 reasons. One is that they say that, leading by example, and they say that if you're not good, if you're not as smart as all of them, at least put in more time. If you're not as good as all of them, you put in more time. Because time will compensate your deficiencies. So as I've said, there is no substitute for hard work. Okay?
Almost all of us are aware today that we are facing a crisis due to our fluctuating economy. Do you think changing our type of government can be the solution?
I think no. As they say, it's not the singer. It's not the song, but the singer. It's not the type of government. It's the kind of leadership that we have. So probably we turn into a new form of government that might not even work if we do not elect good leaders. Probably if we do not change the form of government, we have good leaders that it will work. Yes.
I am just curious, sir. I know we have our opinions about it. I just want to hear an opinion from a great politician like you. What do you think? Why it is hard for the Philippines to progress government?
is it difficult for us to move ahead? I guess it's poor leadership and poor citizenship. Usually when something wrong happens, we point to the leaders. But I think the failure of the leader is also the part of, it's a failure of the part of the citizens as well. So in order for us to progress, I guess it's important that we practice good citizenship and what? Find good leaders that will allow us to move ahead. Yeah, my last question.
Mayor, among all the mayors who serve the city of Naga, who do you think is the best?
Among what? Among the mayors who serve Naga, I serve the longest. Is that a fair question? I cannot tell you the best, but I've served the longest. I've been mayor for 18 years. 18 years. Yeah, last question, before I leave. I need to catch up another appointment in the city.
Mayor, how did you work in San Miguel help you to govern the Naga City?
How did my work in San Miguel help in my work in the city? Yeah, I think that's a good closing question. You know, you will realize later on in your life, especially the young people, that you're connecting the dots of your life. Meaning your experience now and your experience later, and probably 5-10 years from now, once you connect all the dots, you will realize that you have prepared yourself for what you will be doing. And in my case, when I worked with San Miguel, I never thought that I'd be mayor of the city. But you know, I think San Miguel gave me managerial experience. San Miguel allowed me to work with the laborers. My exposure in San Miguel was, I was manager of the warehouses, so I was talking to the bodeguero, to the sales clerk, etc. So I had a glimpse as to how ordinary people work. But then I also had an assignment working with the president of the company. So he also talked to people who I may say were influential. Now, I didn't realize that was important until I became mayor of the city. When I became mayor of the city, I realized that it's important to be able to communicate to the ordinary guy on the street. But it's also important to have the personality to deal with national officials. So let me just tell young people here that everything that you're going through right now are dots in your life. Make the most out of all these dots, because when you connect all those dots, that will spell success in the future. Thank you very much and good evening.
Okay, participants, so again, let's give Mayor a big round of applause. So before we end, let me go on Mary Bueno, ES1, Araling Panlipunan, Division SGP Coordinator, to give the certificate of commendation and read the citation. Can we also request Mayor Robredo to please come up the stage?
Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, Region 5 people, through the Regional Federation of Supreme Student Governments, in partnership with the Division Federation of Supreme Student Governments, honors the certificate of publication, the Honorable Jessie M. Robredo, City Mayor of Naga, in recognition of the invaluable knowledge he shared with the participants of the first Regional Leadership Training for Student Government Officers and Youth Leaders, held on January 31 to February 3, 2009 at Marshall Oranyola Memorial School in Batang Bay. Given the 31st day of January in the year of our Lord at Morms in Batang Bay. Signed, Norma Vista Montella, ES2 English, Regional SGP Coordinator, Marilyn G. Bueno, ES1 Araling Panlipunan, Albay SGP Coordinator, and Celedonio LI Junior Regional Director.